Let's try this again, shall we? Apparently my video stopped working at the when I started recording the next episode. So we're gonna try this one more time. Mystery tube, here we go. We're gonna head up into desert land and let's go ahead and start. I'm get so confused by how this works and everything. And like also I'm not the best when it comes to like putting out gaming content. I've really enjoyed doing the K-pop stuff recently. I say recently, I've been doing it for half a year now, fun fact. And it's really been really fun to be able to meet new people. And like a lot of people in my comments, like, you know, they actually comment and they want to like know things and like they teach me stuff about the different like I say activities, but the different like groups and everything. Like they'll tell me about them and like tell me different facts. And I think it's been really fun. Now, obviously, I really want to get gaming back on what I want to do. I've been wanting to do that a while. I mean, the name of the channel is Ddog Plays Games. It's never going to be Ddog Reacts to K-pop, or just I'm never going to turn it to just Teacher Reacts. I don't want to, because gaming is the whole reason I did this channel is because I wanted to be able to video game. I wanted to be able to sit here, have fun, and if someone wants to come here and join me, they can join me. If they don't want to, they don't have to. And then like, I'm also juggling teaching at the same time, which is a very frustrating experience. There's so many times in teaching that I just don't want, I just want to, what is it called? Not dematerialize, but like, I just don't want to exist for that moment. And one of those things, like meetings, for example, I can't tell you how many countless meetings you have to do as a teacher. It is the most boring thing when I could be doing more important stuff, like, you know, data tracking and whatnot, which I know if you're hearing that out loud and you're not teaching, that sounds like a not fun thing. But me, one of my favorite parts of teaching is being able to look at the data of what is my students doing? Interesting. And I go all the way back here if I saved. I thought that would like bring me down a level, not just instantly kill me. That's interesting. When you get the term data tracking, you're like, okay, that doesn't sound fun at all, Ddog. I don't know why you would even do that. But I mean, it is. It's fun to be able to like look at a student's progress over time, because then you get to see the fruits of your labor, as if it's called, like where you get to see, hey, this student got a 50% on the last test, like completely bombed it, just didn't know what they were doing. And then, you know, you started teaching them and you started doing it a different way. You started showing different strategies and finding out different ways to accomplish the goal. And then now they just took the test and got an 80. And yeah, an 80 is still a B. It's almost a C. But think about like how important that could be for the student to be able to have those little accomplishments. Like being able to make any progress is good. You want to have progress as a teacher. You want to have progress as a student. As a student, you want to be able to say, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to know how to do this. And so like, one of my favorite things is being able to look, like every now and then we'll do something as a teacher called naming and claiming. What that means is you're basically choosing, it's not like playing favorites, but it's choosing a student that gives you a harder time or a student that struggles more, and being like, hey, I am gonna put just a little bit more effort into paying attention to that student, figuring out, hey, wow, that's dumb. What is going on with that student? Why are they struggling? Is there any way I can help them not struggle? And so when you put a name and claim to that, and being like, hey, this person, we're gonna call him, I don't know, Bobby. This person, Bobby, he has been failing math for a year or two now. He's been just getting by the nick of his teeth, being able to do one assignment. We need to figure out what's going on with him. So you start to, first you never tell the student you're focusing on them, by the way. You don't be like not at first. You're not gonna be like, hey, I notice you are different than the rest of your kiddos, or than the rest of your students. I am going to focus on you. No, that's not how you word things. If this student is failing, maybe they're failing all their classes, but in your class, they have a C. which means that like maybe there's something you're doing differently that you could tell your other teachers, or maybe there's a reason behind it, behind why they're not failing your class. Maybe it's maybe your school has a large minority of male teachers, and maybe this student in particular doesn't have a male in his life, so like you're the one male, like head, not, how do you say it, male leader in his life, so maybe he resonates more with you because he's trying to, like, you know, be able to, maybe he, what is the word I'm looking for, it's not resonate, it's hard to talk and play games at the same time, but maybe he sees more in you as a teacher because you're a male. Or maybe you're a female listening to this and you have somebody who has all male teachers, and maybe they're like, I don't know, maybe they get along better with females. Maybe that's it. There's lots of ways that you can think about this, and you can find little reasonings for things, and you hope when you find those reasonings that you can, you know, splice through the data and figure out, hey, how can I make their other classes better? Maybe you realize they're failing a class because they're missing 2 assignments in every class. So maybe you start to say, hey, Bob, whatever I called him a second ago, maybe you could I've seen that you're doing well in my class, but I don't see that you're doing well in other people's classes. Could you get these 2 assignments done for me, and then show me after class when you finish my work? Maybe you can start to work on that. Like you can grab a computer or grab an iPad or whatever you have in your classes and be like, hey, see if you can get a couple of these done. Since you're doing so well in my class, even if they have like a C in your class, you could word it as, hey, you're doing really well in my class. Maybe you can use this time wisely and try to work on other classes. And then you start to notice patterns. Maybe they do really well in math and science, but they do really terrible in English and language, or English and like the social studies class. So you start to notice things like, hey, how come you're not doing well in reading? And they can be like, I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, can you do me a favor? And then like in my class, math class, I'll have them read something out loud, and you'll start to notice, oh, maybe they just can't read. Maybe that's the thing, is maybe they don't see well. Maybe the student is, you know, when you're talking up on the board, they're paying close attention and they can raise their hand and things, but the moment you give them work by themselves, they struggle. So what do you do in that case? Well, you try to work with that student and being like, hey, I showed this on the board. Can you repeat to me what I just said? Can you show me how to do it and act like I'm a student that doesn't know how? Like, find ways to get them engaged and see if they can use their learning, or see if they can show you, because maybe they just can't write, or maybe they just can't read, and you have to find ways around that as a teacher. They can still learn even if they can't read or write. Like, that is something, they can still do math even if they can't speak out loud how to do it. They could show you written down. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they can't enunciate in their words how something is done, but maybe they can write it down. And if they can't write complete sentences, just be like, hey, write some words for me. Is this a maze? Is this a maze one that we need to do? I need to pay attention real quick. Hold on. I think this isn't a maze. I think I'm just going to the right. I am. Oh, is this another one of the, are we just gonna have these bosses every time? I really like it. I really enjoy this unique boss that we have here. I'm assuming I can't jump. Yeah, when he's all glowy like that, I can't jump on him, but that's okay. I like that you have a clear, you clearly know like what his health is. So that way, you know when he's done. It's nice. It's very visual, which is good. Speaking of that, maybe this person's more visual and maybe they can draw you a picture instead of writing down words. There's a lot of times when you'll find certain students that struggle and you have to find different strategies behind them, is basically what I'm saying. So this long rant was basically like, hey, do you, as a teacher, try to find what that one thing is that student can do and exemplify that instead of pointing out flaws, uplift positive moments. Does that make sense? I don't know. We'll talk more about it next time. Goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to like this video. It's important for me.